it's very, I guess the language I would say is very generous, kind of attitude toward the child and to the parent in the room. You think about, wow, this is a high responsibility for a teacher. It's a high responsibility for a parent to model all these safe aspects that we're talking about, but this is a very high responsibility for a teacher, that you're modeling these things clearly. Think about modeling courtesy or the way you handle instruments in the classroom. You know, um, what are a couple things there? Like, obviously you have your rituals and your ceremonies, and when we can talk about in person, think about when you're teaching in person, think about when you're teaching online. Um, you bring out the baskets. What are some of the things you talk about with the children when you're doing this?
When I think of taking out a basket, I'm always thinking out loud. I bet sticks would be perfect. You go, oh, I have sticks. I would like to share them with you. And then I'll take out my sticks carefully. Oh, I've got 2 sticks. So I will model the whole thing. And then I'll say, it's your turn. Boom. And I'm always amazed at how the children will do that same motion. Now this is 2.5 through 4. But if I am careful on how I do it, I know that when I reach the piano and I ask for this, they already have that ability to follow what I want them to do. So
That's a good point. Yeah. They've been mapping you all this time. They've been mapping and mapping and mapping, and so they're going to continue to emulate. They want to try to imitate. That's a really good point. And they do the same thing with like how they'll map you on everything, playing drums and however you move your hands, that's what they're going to do. So it's a really good point that you're modeling their, you think about mapping because you're setting up maybe something that you're doing, an actual action, like playing the sticks. You want them to do it this way, you want them to do it this way, or you want to sway and you want them to, but you're right that the ritual of getting the basket, bringing it to the center, you've already shown them with your movements what you want from them. And as a toddler, that's harder for them to control, but they're taking it in. They may not be able to control their bodies like you do, but they're getting that idea. And the more you do it over time, as they're coming into 3 and then they're moving into 4, they can absolutely do exactly what you're setting up for them to do. And it is amazing what a toddler will do. If you ask them, I always say, I'm like you, Ellen, and I take it out very ceremoniously, and I'll put the basket down and I'll say, carefully and slowly, please take out 2 sticks for you, 2 sticks for you, and 2 sticks for your grown-up. And it's sort of just a moment. And they do take turns, and they wait for each other, and they help each other. Like, oh, I think you're missing a stick. It's just a beautiful time, and just contrast that with, the other option of just tossing a basket in the middle of the room and saying, okay, it's stick time.
Yes.
I do believe that takes place somewhere, but just not
Well,
here.
yeah. And there are times when that might even be appropriate, like when there's a certain flow going on, but that'd be older kids, like 5s or 6s. It's like, we've done this activity and I don't have to say a thing. I take it out and I go, oh yeah, and then it's like, hold on.
Yeah. Slow down.
You remember how we take sticks?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then, Abby, show everyone how you think I would like you to take sticks.
Right. Well, and it's like, with the older students, you're talking about, you've got the blank piece of paper and the crayon and however many things they're going to need for that next writing activity. And so I set them up in stations. I had a whole presentation on this in a festival years ago, but I have the paper, I have the crayons, which are all brown and black. And
Yes. No yellows, no yellows.
and maybe a really dark green. And then they had to have mats to write on. And so I would model, and we would take time at the beginning of class, and everybody's in a circle, and I would just say, all of a sudden I would say, I'm going to do something, and I wonder if you can watch me. And I don't say anything, and I get up and I do all these things. I carefully pick up the piece of paper, and I carefully pick up the crayon. I'm very purposefully picking up the mat. I'm going back to my place all the way, and they're silent. They're just watching my every move. It's the craziest thing. And I put my mat down, and I put my paper on top of my mat, and I put the crayon at the top of my mat on the floor. I'm a crisscross applesauce. I fold my hands and I put them in my lap. And I look around the room and I say, I wonder who else could do that. Of course, you get all the hands. And then you call on the person who's the most reliable and that you know that they do it that way. And we say, and I say, well, let's watch Nora go get her things. And everybody watches. She goes through the whole thing. She brings it back. She sets it down. But once you've established this, it's like what you were saying, Ellen, then you can kind of move more quickly the next time, a little bit more quickly the next time, and a little more quickly the next time, because you've instilled in them those habits that have now, that tradition has built in some habits, and those good habits turn into good character. I mean, it's just it all builds, and it just continues to build, and it just gets better and better.
Until they reach, well, for me being a piano teacher, it reaches to the ritual of approaching a piano with their hands on their lap. And then, we spoke a lot in the Musikgarten class the other day of the use of the wrist. And yeah, we used a lot of the songs. I've been using a lot of songs to do this motion. And then we've been doing it on the drum, and when we're done with the drum, putting our hands in our lap. So getting that sense of beginning and end.
Yeah.
It's through modeling, and it's doing it in a very respectful way, that knowing that they can do this too. And then the expectation is that they will come back with that same sense of respectfulness towards the instruments.
Yeah, that respectfulness is such a key, and we're giving the parents, we're really giving them such a gift, because we're modeling that, just the like you said, the courtesy, the saying please, saying thank you, all of those things. I had my class yesterday was finishing in World. We were finishing the African American unit, and we're getting, we're all done, so we're having a little celebration. And at the beginning of class, I said, I had already told them to be prepared for this, but please tell me what activities you would like to do today to celebrate the end of our unit. And I said, and please ask me if we could do this. May we do this? May we do ping pong samba? Or please can we do Mr. Banjo? And I'll say, yes, we can. Thank you for your suggestion. Let's do that. And I started a list, and it was this really nice exchange, and we came up with this really nice list, and it was just a wonderful, delightful class. So all of those things, and I have a lot of students at the end when I hear parents say thank you to Miss Amy, and they're ending it, even though it's online, they're ending it with thank you, and I always thank them. At every class I end by saying thank you for coming to make music with me today. That's how I end every class. So it's beautiful. I love it. Not my class in general, I just mean Musikgarten itself is beautiful.